Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Sally Foote and welcome to my Facebook Live. I'm back in town today and I'm here at the Bella Behavior Learning Center in Tuscola, Illinois. Today I wanted to talk about the additive effect of noise fears to separation anxiety. Recently I've had a number of calls for behavior consults from dog owners where the separation anxiety problem has suddenly worsened. And in just even getting the short histories from these people, just chatting on the phone, it coincided with the 4th of July or the weeks before the 4th of July where all your neighbors are setting off the fireworks. And also here in Illinois, where I live in central Illinois, we've had quite a few thunderstorms and, storms coming through because this is our storm season. And it's this additive effect of the anxiety about, the storms, the 4th of July, fireworks, kind of noises going off all day, creating that chronic daily anxiety that when the owner needs to leave, it then really increases that panic and the signs of separation anxiety. So as a veterinarian myself, and I know a lot of the audience out there are veterinarians or veterinary technicians and shelter care workers, I consider all the shelter care workers, volunteers included, as a part of the animal care, veterinary care group and profession, that we may be getting the call in about, say, well, he was really upset about thunderstorms last night, worse than he's ever been, or I had to go to I actually had the opportunity to go meet my friend for lunch. And when I went out for lunch and came back an hour and a half later, oh my goodness, he destroyed, he chewed his way out of a crate, or really was upset much more than I've ever seen before. And why is this happening now, and how can we help these dogs? So I wanted to go through actually how anxiety builds, and got to make sure my directions are pointing right, how when anxiety goes up, it can go to aggression. Hang on, I got to step off camera because I didn't grab all my sheets. And I'm going to be referring to, and I know I've used these handouts in my Facebook Lives, and I have this one on my website, The Canine Ladder of Aggression by Dr. Kendall Shepard, and this is the other body language of fear from Cattle Dog Publishing, drsophiayin.com. But on this one scale has been published, and it's showing how, let's do this again, these early signs of anxiety, like turning the head away, walking away, creeping ears back. Now, this is when to a dog there is a threat, perceived threat, that when they get to a point of trying to get away isn't working, the dog can shift to aggression. They go to stiffening up, staring, growling, and then biting. Okay, so this is the aggression ladder. Well, in the same context that when a dog is feeling anxious and they're trying to show walking away, okay, or let's say cowering, that's, tucked down, ears down, they're holding their body down, to what the dog sees as something threatening, something upsetting, something scary. Yes, they can choose to go to aggressive, yet in separation anxiety, and in noise fears, we don't see the dog attacking the source of noise or attacking out of aggression, say the confinement. It's more about they're trying to escape and they're making this destruction, and they themselves, the animal themselves, are self-destructing. We see a lot of serious injuries like fractured canine teeth, paws ripped till they're bloody. I myself have had cases where the dog jumped out of a second-story window, fracturing both of his front legs, when he was upstairs and his owners had just walked out of the home, and another neighbor's dog who literally jumped out of a basement window trying to escape during a thunderstorm when needing to be left alone in the home. So in other words, they go up this anxiety scale, but then these dogs are taking a departure toward panic. They're not going to aggression. They're going up here toward, now we get a lot of that pacing, a constant pacing, constant searching, like to the door, to the window, or we may actually get digging, digging at the couch, digging at, jumping up on the bed, jumping off the bed, in the crate. They're digging at the bedding or digging at the door, at the threshold, the closed door. Then finally to the point where the dog is actually panicked. Now they're willing to do anything to try to escape. And that's a dog who is grabbing with their mouth the bars of the cage or the crate and pulling so hard they may break their tooth, or digging, and digging and jumping through a glass window where they may take injury for doing that. So this is the departure going to anxiety. And for a lot of us, we've never really, I think, been taught or, have gained an understanding of that going up this path, that pacing, the digging, and that panic is a mental state where, again, they can't think, they can't train, they can't take the treat, so they're highly anxious. So when we have two things, so of course we see a lot of this in separation anxiety, and that's because there's often multiple, they're upset about confinement and so on. But when we have storm fears or fireworks fears, the dog may first start with trying to get away and to hide, and then they're shifting over to, say, pacing or digging. So if it's on, say, a daily basis, again, like I said, I'm in Illinois. We've had a couple of thunderstorms, and this dog gets as a client might say, kind of nervous about thunderstorms. Oh yeah, he's pacing and he's panting, and then he finally lays down, or if he lays down next to me, he will calm down. But we know that they're not really calm. I mean, they're not totally relaxed and calm. They just have stopped the pacing because contact with the person is helping them to feel that they have some security. Yet mentally, they're kind of still up here. And because of their residing here, think of it this way, their brain is residing here at that kind of level because of the storms all day, or even just anticipating another storm because it's a little cloudy. The animal can sense the pressure changes from the barometric pressure. Now when the owner leaves, because they're already here, and they normally, just without storms or 4th of July, that dog may have been, when the person picked up their keys, and grabbed their purse or their coffee mug, the dog may have first just shown turning around and walking away, or maybe a little bit of cowering as the person did those steps, because the dog is already here. When now you pick up the keys, now you get your purse, they actually are up to pacing, which often, the following you around, going to the door, going to the window, going to the door, going to the window. Yet we have not really been educated or understand that means that dog is trying to escape already. And then he's already at this level of anxiety, which is why then, as soon as you leave, or maybe as you walk to the door, the owner walks to the door to actually leave, or you put them in the crate, now this time they're actually digging at the bedding. Okay, so they're actually that high. The digging at the bedding is an escape behavior. They're trying to it's not just necessarily, you kind of have to watch how they're digging, but for most of them, if you really watch a video of these dogs digging, they're digging and they're pulling and pulling. And what they're trying to do is to dig a hole out of the bottom of the cage. They're trying to escape. And so that's why when the owner's going out the door and the door goes click, then they actually go up to panic, because that click is the next trigger. So we're getting the trigger stacking for, wow, they've really gone. And because on this day, because there was, kids throwing off fireworks or a storm, they started off here when the owner left. That's why they jump up to there this quickly. If it was wintertime, we didn't have 4th of July and we didn't have storms, the dog may have been just sort of walking away from the owner a little bit of ears down. And when the click happened on the door, maybe this is as high as they got, and the owner just never thought much of it or didn't really see it because there was no evidence. But now what they're seeing is, the door frame is getting chewed up, or they can hear the dog barking or whining, as they say, freaking out in the cage. So the two are additive. And if any of you out there have some either articles or references, because I've not been able to find this so much as to why do dogs go more to panic than aggression about these particular triggers. And this is kind of my theory just about dogs and how they respond to threat. That because things like fireworks and storms, the source of the noise, isn't really seen. It's not the same as like an unknown person reaching for the dog. They can see that threat. They can recognize the threat, and they can direct their attention on that threat. And then they learn, or they know, if I lunge up and bite this because I can see it, I can focus on the threat and it will go away. So that works for them, right? Aggressing on the person reaching, aggressing on the unknown person coming forward, aggressing on the housemate dog approaching their food. That's a target. It is seen. Aggressing makes it go away. So aggression works for that category of anxiety, based turning to aggression. Well, they can't attack a thunderstorm. They growling at the thunderstorm. Some dogs may do that, at the start or early on in their life. They growled when they heard the thunder, but then they couldn't find the thunder to go up to stare at it or maybe bite at it and lunge at it to make it go away. And the thunder continued. And so then they're learning like, oh my gosh, I can't get away from it. And I can't get away from it. I can't hide from it. And because they're already escalated up, I think that's why they take this detour or this shift and they go over to the panic. And with separation anxiety, again, their anxiousness and whatever, their hyper bonding, like the lack of the companion or the human, is that lack of coping for the dog. They can't like aggress against it in a way. I think sometimes like that, what we see as the barrier of frustration may have first been an actual aggressing at the door. I mean, we don't get the opportunity to see these dogs the first time or two where they might be actually growling at the door and biting at it, but the door won't open. And so they can't get it to open. So now it shifts to this, oh my gosh, I can't get out. And they shift over to panic. But my point is really this today is for us to really understand how significant pacing is for having a dog then become the dog who will jump out of that window and break their legs. How significant digging on the couch or digging in the crate can turn into the dog who comes in now to the vet clinic with a avulsed canine tooth or a fractured end off the second premolar, which now will be a chronically painful problem. And now you're going to have to do a surgical extraction, a big dental procedure. Yet we can take care of that medically, but this is our real problem. Or lastly, I have seen dogs who have bloated and have an acceleration, of heart disease at this time of year because of this combination, but this description, helping our clients to describe this to us, and also for us to immediately say, whoa, this is bad. If he's pacing, I need to get him on some anti-anxiety medication. We need to get a behavior consult right now. Maybe even do some blood work to make sure there's no other underlying health conditions. Yet this kind of fear and panic is a problem. The adrenaline is rising. It is hurting them physically and mentally, and it becomes then a part of the learned behavior. So, while we don't have, I've not been able to find, and if any of you out there, my followers, have something like a ladder of panic chart, maybe it's something I'll work with somebody I'm publishing. But I think, I love this chart from Dr. Shepard. It is so clear. It's so easy to see and understand those steps to aggression. I feel, thinking in that same frame of mind, there's this progression of anxiety that goes to panic. And we have in the dog a ladder of panic. And so we need to not only think about that, but maybe even if you yourself just schematically draw this out and have it to refer to and share with clients, to understand that this is what's going to happen. That dog who's pacing around the living room or digging in the couch as you leave or during the storm is the dog who will become the one, pulling his teeth out or jumping out and all that, really rising up to high panic. And so we need to know about this, and then we need to choose the medications that are going to help to manage the panic. Because some of our medications that help to manage panic are a bit different than the ones that we use for helping to reduce the anxiety-based aggression. Oftentimes, we are reaching for our benzodiazepams, Valium, lorazepam, diazepam, to help reduce panic. We also have our alpha-2s like Soleo, or clonidine, because they have the anxiety reducing benefit and slowing the body down. Really note, pacing, digging, sometimes you'll get in here, say, drooling. This is oftentimes too where you get urination or defecation. That's because the sympathetic nervous system, the muscles of the body are activated. That's what's happening in panic. That's why you get so much body movement, the pacing, the digging, etc. So our medications not only need to help them be mentally just, I'm not so worried. We oftentimes need medications that also help to slow the body down. That they are going to have some level of either tranquilizing effect or reducing the sympathetic tone. And that's where, honestly, the medication propranolol can come in so well, because it does reduce that sympathetic tone without sedating. And the point of not having sedation is important for the storm and like storm fear, so the dog is awake enough and able to get to that safe room and to be calm. So this is just what I wanted to talk about today, because it seems to be a really hot topic. I really look forward to reading your comments. Share with me what your experiences have been. There are lots of drug combination cocktails. There are supplements that also can help to reduce some of this rise to panic. And lastly, there's also a new product called the Calmer Canine Halo, which is a PEMF, the pulse electromagnetic field therapy loop, that also helps with reducing separation anxiety. And what I myself am seeing with some of these cases, because I'm following that with the Assisi Animal Health Company, is that it's also helping with some of the other, not just anxiety, but aggression-based problems. So thank you very much. A few things. Please go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. I am sharing my Facebook Live posts onto my YouTube to make it easy to follow them again, along with other videos. I will be recording I'm going to be presenting for the Fetch Kansas City Conference. It's all going to be virtual now, but I am recording a 1-hour race-approved CE lecture called Separation Anxiety, the whys, the whats, and the hows of treatment. So I hope you veterinarians, veterinary technicians, and anybody else who can sign up for that virtual conference and take that course. And I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you. Finish that.